morning, everyone. Welcome to the counselor's garden. I'm here with my boy and my dog. We've got the beds finally filled up, with dirt at least. I think everyone would probably agree that the worst part of a project is getting it cleaned up afterwards. It's definitely the case for me at least. But what I do usually, well, in my, one other garden I've had, but it worked really well, is drip irrigation. And that's gonna work particularly good up here, I think, because the pressure's not that great. I mean, the gallons per hour is all right. And I'll explain that in a second for those who wanna know. But yeah, what I do is I go to dripworks.com. I'll link it in the description. It's a really good site. I've got the large kit here. You can, kind of see all the stuff on here if you're interested. It's got a bunch of stuff, but the good stuff is the soaker discipline. That's the actual drips and all the cool parts that it comes with to put it together. I'll show you a little snippet of that. I'm not gonna show you every piece of it, but they recommend to come up with a plan. Obviously, you're not just gonna run it everywhere, but my initial plan is from here, I'll run the thick hose down right along here, and we'll branch off at the top of every bed all the way down. And then from those, you can use this smaller tubing. It will, if we pretend this is it, it will come up off, and then, right at the top of the bed, it'll elbow into the drip line that'll go all the way across the bed. So you'll see more of that in a second. But for those of you who are interested, if I can find what my wonderful son did with all the stuff, you got to check the PSI. It's helpful to know. Get you one of these PSI gauges. Helpful tip is to run the water a little bit. That'll get it going, and then you can pop the PSI gauge on, and we will close it, and then we'll crank it on. And yeah, like I said, not great. Usually you want 30 or so. This usually goes up to 20. I mean, obviously sometimes higher. We're at 10, 11 in the morning, sprinkler running and stuff. So, and there's multiple families on this well, but I'll be running these at 5 a.m. or so before people are using much. So it'll be higher. For figuring out your flow, I got a 5-gallon bucket over there. I'm not going to do it again, but open up the stopwatch on your phone, turn the faucet on, run it into the bucket, start the stopwatch, fill up the 5-gallon bucket. Obviously, record the time. Mine was 50 seconds for 5 gallons. You'll divide that. The capacity, 5 gallons divided by 50 is about 0.1. And then you'll times that by 60, and that'll give you your gallons per minute. And then you'll times that by 60 again, 60 minutes in an hour. That'll give you your gallons per hour. That's just helpful stuff to know. Sometimes on these, they'll have, flow rates and stuff, like this tubing at 100 feet, I believe, is recommended for up to 240 gallons per hour. So you just got to kind of calculate that. How far are you going to be running? How much tubing you're going to be running? Luckily, this stuff is very easy to trial and error. I mean, within reason. You get it set up and it doesn't work, you can just cut at a spot and run another. I'll be using this bad boy here. If I get it set up and towards the end, last 2 or 3 or 4 beds, it's not working very well, I can just cut and I can just run another line to it, set up another zone to water, and just water separately. No huge deal. So yeah, so let me take some time and get organized here, kind of get the rough layout laid out, and then I'll kind of show you a little bit of the connecting and then show you the finished product. All right, here we are at kind of step 2. I've got it laid out, as you can see. Goes up and around, and I've tested it a little bit to make sure the water runs through. Opened up the end caps, which are these little dudes here. It's just capped off, but you can unscrew that to blow it out at the end of the year or whatever. It's kind of nice. So what we've got here is I've gone through, and with this end here, other end, it fits around there and pops the hole. Pretty straightforward. We've got that for these emitters to go into. These will let the waters transfer from this to this small tubing. We'll go up the side of this and through this hole that I've drilled here. And when it gets into the garden bed, we'll use another one of these to switch to the actual drip. Pretty straightforward, but let me show you. This is not incredibly hard. This cool tool they send from DripWorks, you can actually almost do it one-handed maybe. You fit the little emitter plug down in there. You find the spot here, fit it in there, and just give it a good thrashing maybe. Sometimes it likes to bend, but it's pretty strong. So yeah, now it's in there. Now what we'll do is we will get this onto the end of it. Sorry, I'm talking with one of them in my mouth, in my part holder. Get this one in there too. Let's get it in the hole. This one's being a little uncooperative with me. Sometimes it just be like that. We'll do that one later. This one looks like a better option. So pop it in, and it should pop in nice and easy like that. That one's weird. I'm gonna have to redo the hole. But for this part, we just take this tubing, clearly. You might wanna get some water on it or spit on the thing. But now I'll just run up and kind of over measure right here, and I will cut it. How the heck am I gonna cut it one-handed? I will cut it. I'll remember where it is. This cool thing comes with a cutting tool as well. I believe it was about right here. So yeah, I will overcut it here. Oh, I will run it through the hole here. Comes through, and that is where I will attach it to the drip. And I'm doing 4 lines on each bed to assure proper watering. So stay tuned. We'll be back. All right, here we are next day. Had some other stuff going on. Just finished, and I'm turning these on like 1 second ago to check for stuff like this. So it's like obviously a leak. Even with that though, I mean, we got that leak, but it's still working. We got to check all the way upstream though to make sure. As you can see, drips are happening. Drips are happening all the way upstream, even with a leak. We've got drips all the way to the end, which is great. And that is with 20 or less PSI. I haven't even checked it this morning, but so I don't know, I'll pick any one of these. What I did is just pick this one, I guess. As I shared the other day, we've got this small tube, which is not drip. It's just a transfer tube. We've got a barb that transfers into the drip that runs to the end. And you're not supposed to bury the actual drippers, but down in there, I'll just pull it up for you. This is a goof plug is what it's called. Basically just clogs the end. I like to make it, too long so that I can bury it and have just the extra support. If I can get it to go back to where it was here. And as you're, sorry about the amateur cameraing, these are fresh beds, so the soil's super loose, hasn't settled. As it settles, your pins that you can put in to hold this down will hold much better. You get plants in there, you get root development, it'll solidify some. It won't be, this loose. Then they will hold together really well. But yeah, as you can see, it's pretty efficient. I mean, like I said, even with a unfortunate leak where I was fairly sure the spot was going to leak because I messed up the hole punching with my, with the tool I shared. I punched it and it didn't seem to take, so I tried to punch it in the same spot again, but clearly didn't work. Actually, if I have the fix in the box over here, I can show you. Should be just down in here, or well, I'm not sure where it is, but basically it's just like a fix on a regular hose. It's got you would cut it in half and fit one end in here, one in here, and screw it together. Alternatively, I can pop this out and put one of those plugs in and see if that fixes it, which it very well could. They're a little thicker and stuff so they could fix it. But anyway, yeah, you have it. I still got a little, as you can see, a little bit of dripping going on over there. That's from the not so great timer that I have to use now. That one I shared at the beginning ended up being a bit janky, we'll call it. One end never stopped going. 2 zones went randomly. They would spit water out like a squirt gun, and one end would never turn on. So wouldn't recommend that. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy. Hope this is a little helpful, kind of all over the place, but just to demonstrate, I mean, how easy really, if I didn't have a kid running around to take care of and other projects going on, you know, this would have taken a couple hours maybe. Just get into a flow of things. It's not hard, it's just, you know, a tiny bit consuming, but this is great. I will run this in the early season, probably an hour every 3 days, and then come through on seedlings, and I'll still have to spray seedlings, you know, or seeds to make sure that they're staying moist. But once their roots are just, you know, a little bit established, they're able to reach down and get the water, and really down in the depths, we'll probably rarely, if ever, get dry from this. In the heat of the summer, depending on the heat, I will switch to every other day for an hour. 2 summers ago, it went from 60 to 110 in literally a week. I was doing every day at that point and spraying down, and, you know, obviously plants didn't do so well. They got shocked. But anyway, enough rambling. Hope this was a little bit helpful for y'all. Enjoy your late spring, early summer. Happy planting, and yeah, hope you guys check out the next one.